All right, class, we have now done 1 point perspective with boxes, boxes behind boxes, and goofy shapes. So we've had practice. Today we are moving on to letters. In your sketchbooks, I want you to turn to page 19, and you have empty sketchbook pages. It says sketchbook page. That's what we're going to be working on today. On that page, the first thing I need you to do is draw a horizon line in the middle of your paper. Once you have your horizon line drawn, you can make your vanishing point. Now we're going to start talking about letters. I'm going to start off doing more of a simple one, similar to kind of our goofy shapes that we've worked on, and then we're going to talk about rounded letters. I'm going to start off with an L, and for those of you who do not have a lot of practice with bubble letters, you can just make an L. I make it pretty light, a normal L. Now I'm going to go around it with parallel lines to make it bold. So I'm just going around the outside edges, and now I have a bubble letter L. For you guys, it's going to be easier to make your letters in one of the four kind of corners of the page, either top left, top right, or bottom right. It's a little bit easier to see the perspective doing that. And then just like we've been doing with our boxes and other things that we've been doing in here, you're going to make a line from each of these points every time it changes direction to the vanishing point. So I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with that top point, make my line. Next one. You can do these pretty light. I'm doing them darker so that you can see them, but if you do them lighter, it's going to be easier to erase. And then I have my little side one. So first step done, I have my rays connecting my letter to my vanishing point. Next thing I'm going to do, which we've practiced a lot, is make my parallel lines. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to line it up with the top of my L, move my ruler up a little bit, make my line. Line my ruler up with the side. Make my line. This part of the L, move it up. Make sure your ruler is staying parallel with those edges of the letter. Line it up with this bottom one, move it over. And now I have, if I erase these, you can see it easier. I have the letter L that goes back to that vanishing point. That's a little more simple because it's all right angles. What's a little more tricky are rounded letters. So I'm going to do an O. These ones, because they don't have hard edges, they don't have these 90-degree angles, are a little harder to figure out. That's why I wanted to practice them for those of you who will be having rounded shapes in your cities. So I have my ruler lined up with my dot. And the way I'm going to find where I connect it is I'm just going to turn my ruler, keep it on the dot, turn my ruler until it touches my letter. So I just hit it right here. I'm going to make my line. I'm going to do the same thing coming from the other side. So I'm going to line it up, turn it until I hit my letter. It's still touching the dot, and make my line. For this one, that's all you're going to have. And then when I'm making my parallel lines, I don't use my ruler because it's not a straight line. I like to trace over this to see kind of what shape it is, and I'm going to make one right here. If I erase that, I now have this O. But I also will have, remember we talked about on these inside shapes, you'll also be able to see through that. So I'm going to copy this curve and make that curve right here, and now it is a 3D O, a complete O. If you do other shapes, because you're going to be practicing different shapes today, or different letters today, I'm going to do a J. So I'm going to do it up here. I have a J. I like to always start off, because this has hard edges, 90-degree angles, and rounded ones. So I always like to start off and get my 90-degree angles done first. So I'm going to line it up with all of those. You won't see that one. And you won't see that one. To do my rounded one down here, I'm going to do the same thing where I line my ruler up to my dot, turn it, until I hit my letter. Make sure it matches up. There's my line. And then I can follow those parallel lines. So here's my parallel line, bring it down. I can erase this now. Over on this side, I have this line, bring it down. And then this one follows the curve of this, and it's gonna, a little bit of it will get hidden. Oh, you wanna keep that. And then this bottom line, you're gonna, just same with the O, you're gonna copy that curve. And then if you erase these, you now have a J. That is 3D. So that one has rounded right here, and it also has the hard angles. So I want you to practice today 3 to 5 letters. At least one has to be rounded. Has to have some type of rounded angle in it. So that could be an A that you rounded, it could be a J, an O, whatever you want. You can do uppercase or you could do lowercase. But that is what you're going to practice today. I also have included on your Google Classroom, look at those. I also have a couple of videos on Google Classroom that you may look at to create these letters. And then I will come around and I will check these on Monday.